Before the X-Files made paranoia fashionable, before Battlestar Galactica turned space war into theology, and long before prestige television congratulated itself for inventing bleak science fiction, there was UFO, a British series that mashed government secrecy, alien body horror, and weaponized psychedelia into a weekly existential crisis. This wasn't Star Trek's optimistic future where problems dissolved after a speech and a swell of music. This was UFO, Gerry Anderson's most cynical, most paranoid, and most underrated science fiction experiment of the 1970s. Premiering in 1970, UFO came from Gerry and Sylvia Anderson, the same creative minds behind Thunderbirds and Captain Scarlet, but instead of heroic rescues and family-friendly adventure, they delivered something far colder and far more adult. Set in the wildly optimistic future of 1980, the series follows SHADO, the Supreme Headquarters Alien Defense Organization, a covert military force operating beneath a London film studio. Their enemy wasn't interested in conquest or diplomacy. The aliens and UFO harvested human organs to survive. No metaphors, no allegory, just bodies, secrecy, and a ticking clock. That single premise pushed the series light years ahead of its contemporaries. UFO didn't ask whether we were alone in the universe, it asked what happens when the universe doesn't care if we live. At first glance, UFO looks like peak retro kitsch, lavender wigs, silver jumpsuits, chrome cars, moon-based uniforms that feel halfway between military issue and mod fashion statement. But that surface level camp is a smokescreen, because beneath it is a show steeped in dread. Humanity is always losing ground. Victories come at a cost, and that cost is usually emotional, moral, or deeply personal. Commander Ed Straker, played by the late Edward Bishop, isn't a noble explorer. He's a man slowly hollowed out by responsibility. The show's sterile whites and metallic silvers doesn't feel futuristic. They feel clinical, like a hospital where hope has been quietly removed. What sets UFO apart, however, is how far it was willing to go for early 1970s television. The episode, titled A Question of Priorities, remained one of the cruelest moral dilemmas ever aired on genre television. Straker must choose between saving his dying son or stopping an alien attack. He chooses the mission. His son dies. There is no narrative loophole, no miraculous reversal. The hero sacrifices his own child, and the show refuses to soften the blow. That kind of emotional brutality wouldn't become fashionable until decades later. And then there's the psycho bombs, arguably one of the series' most disturbing hours. Ordinary civilians are possessed by aliens, granted terrifying superhuman strength, and used as living weapons before collapsing into self-destruction. It's not flashy or triumphant, it's horrifying, depicting loss of autonomy and the disposable nature of human life in war. This episode feels uncomfortably modern in its themes, and that's precisely the problem. UFO arrived too early. The squared triangle veers into full noir territory. An affair, a murder plot, and an alien crash intersect in a way that strips away any illusion of moral clarity. To preserve secrecy, SHADO wipes memories clean, allowing the guilty to walk free. This episode's message is blunt and cynical. Truth is expendable and justice is optional when secrecy is at stake. For a sci-fi show in 1970, this was borderline heretical. The series also wasn't afraid to fracture reality itself. Mindbender infects SHADO personnel with a hallucinatory alien crystal collapsing the boundaries between perception and truth. The episode culminates with Commander Straker awakening on a television set, filming UFO itself, shattering the fourth wall in a way that still feels audacious today. It's disorienting, smug, and fearless, a creative risk most shows wouldn't attempt even now. And this was 55 years ago, while other episodes continued to push into much darker territory. The long sleep explored repressed alien trauma through surreal editing and drug-inflicted hallucinations, blending anti-drug messaging with cosmic horror. The Cat with 10 Lives took what should have been a ridiculous premise, alien possession via a psychic feline connection, and somehow made it unsettling rather than absurd. Time Lash froze itself, turning Straker into a hunter navigating suspended reality in an episode that feels like the Twilight Zone filtered through Cold War anxiety. What UFO accomplished was a genre collision long before television had the language for it. It blended science fiction, espionage, and psychological horror while tackling government secrecy, wartime morality, trauma, obsession, and sacrifice. Technically, it was just as daring. The miniature effects, courtesy of Derek Meddings, who is also known for his early work in the James Bond movies, rival contemporary film work. The moon based sequences laid the groundwork for Space 1999 and influenced later cinematic science fiction, including the cold industrial aesthetic of Alien. Even its direction with handheld cameras, silence, and stark lighting pushed television into cinematic territory. Despite its ambition, UFO was doomed by its own bravery. It was too strange, too bleak, and too adult for mainstream success. After a single season, it vanished, but it never fully disappeared. Its creative DNA evolved into Space 1999. Its themes echo loudly in The X-Files, and its vision of institutional paranoia and dehumanizing secrecy became foundational to modern science fiction. Watching UFO today feels like uncovering a classified broadcast from a future that never happened. Strip away the wigs and chrome, and what remains is painfully relevant. Fear, sacrifice, the comforting lie that secrecy keeps us safe. UFO wasn't the most popular sci fi series of the 1970s, but it may have been the most daring because it understood something that many shows still struggle to admit. The real horror of alien contact isn't invasion, it's what we're willing to become in order to survive it. And if you survive this video, please give a like, share, and subscribe. We would greatly appreciate it, and as always, thanks for watching.